We have business and purpose coach in the studio, Diana Kolek. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Mwikali. Thank you for having me again.
Karibu tena na tena.
Asante.
But anyway, I saw you nodding and following conversation with Jeff. Did you feel like it was important, it was needed for today?
Yes, of course, it was really needed. And purpose is really what is really, you know, it touches my heart when you're talking purpose.
Yes.
And I am sure we are going to get into it a little bit more when you're talking about even how to decide what business you want to get into, because most people just get into a business because they saw so and so doing a business or they're making a lot of money. So I think it's a very good conversation that Jeff was having today, and purpose is really the center of everything.
Yeah. And you know, having this conversation immediately after that sort of like is intertwined. Slowly we're just ni kama zimeshikana.
We are just gliding in.
Yeah. we leave, so we need to find our purpose, right? And you're a purpose and business coach. So we need to find our purpose. And sometimes our purpose is where the business is, and most of the time we feel because it's God-given and I don't get tired doing it, then I just do it for free. But I'm struggling instead of looking at this thing that I was given and how I can turn it into a money-making purpose, sort of to say.
Yeah. For me, I say it's purpose before profit.
Perfect.
If you start a business and you're focusing on the money, trust me, you will leave it. You will just forget about it. I remember there was a study by Standard newspaper, and they were talking about how in the last 5 years, over 400,000 businesses have closed down. 400,000 businesses in the last five years. And those are too many businesses, it means that they were not really in line with who they are, and they were following the money. But unfortunately, if you're looking for the money even in the first year before you even break even, it's a challenge.
It is.
So you need to you need to actually set a business that you're looking at the long game. You're not looking at here and how much money I'm going to make tomorrow and the following day, but you're looking at the long game. So I think that's the start for anyone who wants to start a business. Yeah,
and to change the mentality. Well, it has changed over the years, because I remember growing up, you'd never be told, study hard, become a businessman.
Oh, yes.
Study hard, become a businesswoman. It was always study hard, be employed by somebody.
Yes.
Become a lawyer, become a doctor, become. But then that has changed. Because then it wasn't looked at as something that is profitable, something that is distinguished. But that is what we're talking about today, because it actually is profitable, it is distinguished, and we've managed to find a way to put purpose in there.
Yes. And let me just tell you, I think before, most of the jobs, in fact, my dad used to tell us when he was in high school, when he was just going to finish his Form 4, the army and the banks were coming to school to pick the top students. So it means that by that time, the government was able to employ as many people as possible. And also, the other thing is that the corporations that were there also were looking for people who have gone to school, because there were very few people who had gone to school, maybe even got to Form 4. And now those who were in universities were the top, you know, cream. But right now, if you have a degree, that is just the basic. It's like you've just finished high school. But if you have a master's or you have a PhD, and sometimes you might even find someone who has a PhD who doesn't have a job. I remember one time, sometime back, there was someone who was claiming that he has 7 PhDs or something like that.
I saw that. The one they were holding a placard?
Yes.
Yes.
And then you wonder, 7 PhDs, you're like, okay, and so how come this guy has nothing? So I think that conversation of, you know, just getting into, or even universities, just teaching people on how they can start businesses, that is a conversation that really needs to be
had.
Yeah, to be had.
Needed.
Yeah,
it is needed, because then we keep seeing many people with their degrees and not being able to be absorbed into the job market. But when you talk about small businesses and how to even start one, as much as we've lost so many businesses in the last 5 years, 4 years, you said, then last year and this year, then we've seen an emergence in businesses because guys were laid off, salary cuts, so many things happened.
Yes.
And we were pushed.
Yes.
And somehow people got into businesses, probably for the need of money. People realized, oh, I am good at this. I can actually, you know, make a profit out of it. But when you talk about small businesses, how important about what is a small business really?
Oh my goodness. A small business is actually an entity that really needs to be respected in this country, because actually over 40% of our GDP it can be attributed to SMEs, you know, micro, small and medium-sized businesses, over 40% of our GDP. And this is what we are depending on in this country, you know, to even progress as a country itself. And I think, you know, just starting a business is, you know, you're actually creating employment. I remember I read a certain survey which was talking about how 80% of employment that is created comes from SMEs. So you can imagine, we were talking earlier about the government and how they were able to employ before.
Yes.
But right now, the public sector is bloated.
Yes, it is.
You know, and the corporates, they are now thinking of how can we now use technology to now reduce the number of people. So what does that leave? The emergence of young people who are coming out, graduating, and they lack jobs. Yeah. So we have to now think of what next can we do? How can we use the skill sets that we have? How can we use what God has given us to now, you know, go into business and actually do something that is going to bring some sort of value in the communities that we live around. So that's a conversation that really needs to be discussed.
If you have a small business and you kept probably feeling that, oh, maybe I need to be in the oil business, you know, like it needs to be bigger, then this is just to change that narrative, that your business, as small as it is important, is needed, and is creating money for this country. Yes. And the question to you today is, are you struggling with that? Do you even understand why you started that business? Was it because of purpose? Or was it just because I needed an extra coin here, an extra coin there? Is it even working? If you have any questions whatsoever when it comes to, you know, your small business and how to run it and understanding the ins and the outs of it, please send in your questions, because Diana will be answering all of them. 111 444 111. It's just going to cost you a shilling to do that. Find us on social media, Switch TV KE on Instagram, Switch TV Kenya on Facebook. We're taking a very short commercial break. When we come back with Diana, we'll be answering your questions and dwelling more on what you need to know when it comes to running a small business. Welcome back to Full Circle with Mukali on Business Circle. This morning we're talking about your business. As small as it is, as much as unafikiria pengine it needs to be bigger, we start small and then we grow from there. Is it purpose driven or is it just profit driven? We have a purpose and business coach in studio, Diana, who's answering all of your questions and guiding you on this path of running your business. And we have a question which I think will lead on to answering many other questions. This one is from Maggie from Buruburu, and she says, good morning, Mikali. I quit my job due to poor working conditions, and I've been at home for a few months now. I've been trying to find something to do. Actually, a business that will give me at least 200 bob per day. What business would our guest advocate I go for? I've thought of farming, but it's a little far-fetched. I'm also thinking of cooking to take around to offices, but it's a little risky. So I have ideas, but they all have a downside to it. And she's already made it clear she wants at least 200 bob per day. So I don't know what you would advise, Maggie.
Okay, so Maggie, maybe where I can start from is by you just thinking about what is it that you're really good at. Okay. Because if you just say randomly that you want to do this and that, so I'm guessing that there's a reason why you were picking farming. So you need to actually think back and ask yourself, why was I thinking of farming? Or why was I thinking about cooking? Because your why is very important when you're starting a business. Okay. So if your why is because you've seen other people succeed in that kind of business, then that will be a wrong reason for you to start that business. If your why is because you're looking at the strengths that you have, maybe cooking is something that you're really passionate about, and you can just do it even without, you like hosting people at your place and all that. So if that is the reason, then that could be a good enough reason, but you really need to find something that you're sure, even if you do it for a whole month and you're not making a profit, you're actually just breaking even. That would be a good place to start. And maybe I can just share that when you're starting this business or any other business, for anyone else who's starting a business, you need to think big, have a big vision. When you're starting a business, it should not just be because you need these 200 shillings. If right now you have a place where you can stay, someone who can just give you kidogo rent, or someone can give you maybe food. And your basic needs are actually set, then just think of something bigger. Maybe if your passion is cooking, then you need to think about, how can I actually start a restaurant in town? And you now have that as your big vision.
So you work backwards.
Yes, then you work backwards. So what do I need to do now? Okay, I used to work maybe in this building somewhere, and I have a couple of friends there. Why don't you go out there? And because you said it's risky, so I'm trying to think in your head, what are you thinking about? And this is what most people do. They create a business, they start, they have the products, and then now they start thinking, okay, so where do I get clients?
The clients.
That is where now the business becomes risky.
Okay.
And I think I mentioned that in our company at Evoke Global, we actually do trainings, and we use these three key things that we actually follow when we're doing our trainings for helping those who are actually interested in starting a business.
Please
so
share.
there are three things that you really need to think about when you're starting a business.
Yes.
Number one, I call them, let me use an analogy of the human body.
Okay.
So as a human being, for you to survive, you need three key things.
Yes.
Number one, you need your brain, which means that if you use it as an analogy for a business, it's more like your vision, your mission for your business. What is this big thing that you're thinking of creating? What are the strategies that you want to create around it to actually achieve your mission and vision? So that's the brain. It's what helps us to think. So if you don't have a brain, you've heard of people being in a coma because maybe they're brain dead, but they're not really dead.
Yes.
They're just in a coma.
Yes.
It's because their brains are not functioning. And if your brain is not functioning, then they call this kind of people you like more of a cabbage or something like that.
Yeah.
So the next thing is the blood. So what's the blood of your business? A human being cannot function without the blood, because you just can't. That's common sense.
Yes.
So it's also common sense for a business. The bloodline of your business is your sales. You have to be able to sell. So that's the number two thing that you really need to think about as a business person. How am I going to make sales? Yes, I have an idea of what business I want to do, but how am I going to make the sales? How am I going to sell this product? You can imagine for Maggie, she wants to do food. She must make sure that she sells all the food she cooks every single day. Otherwise, that business will not be viable. So that's the next step.
That's the blood.
Yes.
Okay.
The blood life of the business.
Okay.
Then number three is your bones. So your bones is more of the structures that you set in your business, the systems that you set in your business. Very, very important. If a human being doesn't have the bones,
you crumble. You cannot.
You are paralyzed.
You are.
You cannot move.
You can't.
Even if you had all the customers you needed,
yes,
but you don't have the structures in place for you to be able to actually deliver. What is your value chain? What's the process for you to get your customers and make them very happy with all the products that you're selling? And what do you do after you've gotten that customer? What is that process? What is your system that you've put in place. Those are the things that we need to think about. And for someone who is now like starting from scratch, you have to now think of the first two things. Have that big vision.
Yes.
And then number two, know where to get the clients. Go out there and start selling. Sometimes you can even go and start selling before you even create the product. Because I always tell people that the customers are the ones, their customers are key. The customers are king, and they're the ones who actually determine what they want.
That is true.
You might just think to yourself, okay, let me create this business, or let me create this product, but probably the customers are not really interested. The customers that you're focusing on are not really interested in what product you're selling.
Great.
So you need to actually start thinking, okay, where can I find my customers? Can I start talking to them? Let me find out, do they really need this product that I want to create for them? They might give you a perception that they need it, but maybe they don't. Maybe they need something else. So you need to now start talking to clients. And for Maggie's case, she needs to go and start getting orders.
That is so true.
Yeah.
Like and I don't know why I thought about the farming and the cooking and looked like the same thing, you know, food was the denominator for those two ideas. Maybe those offices that she has in mind, just go there, find out if what do they like to eat? What do they prefer to eat during lunch? Is it tea time? Yes, a good thing. Do they have breakfast at the office? When you find out these things, then you're able to be like, wacha niwalete hata muonje siku moja. If you like my food, then so backwards before you start cooking and you end up with masufuria. That's so true. Hi, so we have another question for you. Hi Mwikali, I started my business in January of this year. I started a hardware business in Wehoko, and thank God it's been growing really well. My advice to anyone starting a small business is to go after your dreams, and the rest will just fall in place. Brian from Githurai. And when we talk about purpose and going after our dreams, sometimes the things or the things that we find joy in, we don't look at them as a way to make money.
That's true. That's really true. I love to dance.
You do?
Yes.
Do you dance?
Yes, I dance salsa.
Professionally?
Okay,
well,
let me not say professionally, but I am very good.
You will not be stepping on each other's toes.
No.
Do you train?
I don't train myself, but I have quite a number of friends. We in salsa we have like a community. And we know each other, so there are quite a number of people who can train, and if anyone is interested, I can hook you up.
Yes, but we are interested. Caro, we are interested, right? We are interested.
Yeah. So when this guy started, I think we started dancing salsa maybe almost 10 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, and we used to go to different places, and I could see these young people. At that particular time, I was employed. I was one of the few who were employed, and most of the guys who were my friends at that particular time, they were just dancers. They just loved to dance. And I realized something very interesting. Salsa was a new thing in Kenya, and there are so many people who are interested in, you know, just learning how to move.
See
you
the
know?
way you're already here.
Yeah, so it was interesting to see how these people were really passionate about it. And right now, if you see the community that we have in salsa, it's huge. And it's because these guys decided, by the way, why can't we start teaching? Like for me, I think we used to pay like 200 shillings per session. Right now, guys are paying 1,000 shillings,
that is true.
800 shillings per session. So out of that passion, someone came and taught people how to dance salsa, and everyone just got into it. Everyone started just finding more information about it on YouTube, and then they became a professional in dancing salsa.
Yes.
And it became something that they are really passionate about, and they started it, and they started, you know, studios. And right now, if you want to get a place for salsa, you can get a place on Wednesday, on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, week. Sunday. So, I mean, you can start, you know, just doing a business out of what you know you're really good at.
Na ukilemewa, unatafuta Diana. And
exactly. Yes, yes,
okay.
yeah.
Hi, Mikali. I'm Maggie from Dagoretti. I'm a home baker, but my biggest challenge is money managerial skills. How do you separate your profits and money supposed to go back to your business?
Okay.
And this happens a lot with businesses where you do not pay yourself.
Yes.
Everything just goes in there. So when you are at the corner, you end up pesa yako ya biashara mix.
Yes, yes. And let me tell you, it's a big problem, even for the big businesses, the people who have like, you know, mid-sized businesses. I know of someone who was telling me that in her business, we were doing like a coaching session, and she was like, actually, this is how much money I make on a monthly basis. And we calculated per year, it was coming to over around maybe 20 million. Wow. And she was like, oh my gosh, where did all that money go? So she was like, okay, how I deal with my stuff is I have the business account and I also have my personal account. And sometimes when I need to pay for maybe some sort of expenses for the business, I would, if I'm having access at that particular time to my personal account, I will just use my personal account. If we need to buy for something maybe in the house, I would even use my business account. So everything was just jumbled up, and she doesn't have like proper records, which is really key for anyone who is doing business. From the word go, when you're starting the business, start putting down your records. Write all your expenses, write all the income that is coming in. And these days, you can even get a student who is an accountant. There are so many who are jobless right now, who can even come to your business as an intern to do your books. So you don't need to spend a lot of money maybe paying for a certain maybe software to do your books, or employ a full accountant. There are so many people out there with CPA 1, CPA 2s who are willing to just come and you pay them even 5,000 shillings on a monthly basis, or even 2K on a monthly basis to do your books. And those are some of the services that we offer. We have people we call online business managers who can actually come into your business and help you with a couple of things. Maybe it's social media, if it's accounting, quite a number of things. If you need someone to be talking to your clients on your behalf, those are some of the services that we offer. But there are so many people out there. If you go to universities and ask for interns, you can get interns to just come and help you out. So that aspect of, you know, keeping your books well, I think the biggest challenge is usually because people, someone starts a business and they are not paying themselves. That is where the problem comes in. So when you're setting up your business, even as you develop your pricing strategy and all that, you need to be very clear. You need to add in there some of the expenses that you're going to incur. So number one, you need to determine on a monthly basis, how much do you want to pay yourself from the business? And when you determine that, look at how much you're selling. Let's say you're selling products. Determine how much you want to sell on a monthly basis to be able to actually pay yourself the amount of money you want to pay yourself. And let me just take you back, Mwikali. Before we even talk about that, I think the other problem that we normally have, and this is one of the things that we do, we don't plan for profit. We actually have a program that is called Planning for Profit. So what you do at the beginning of the year, you need to have a proper plan, know exactly how many products do I want to sell. If it's a service, how much in terms of revenue do I want to make on a monthly basis? Then calculate on an annual basis, how much will that be? And determine exactly how much profit you want to make before you even start the year. And then now work backwards, know, okay, so this is how much profit I want to make, because it will enable me to actually earn this amount of money as salary for myself. Then when you're set with that, now work backwards and know exactly how many products do I need to sell, in terms of services, how many clients do I need to reach out to sell to. And then work backwards to know how many prospects do I need to reach out to be able to get that. Let me tell you, sales is a numbers game. You reach out to around maybe 100 clients and you only get like 10. 10%. So if you work backwards, you know exactly how your week will be.
To do?
Exactly.
Where do I need, like, because I need this to work out at the end of the day.
Yes.
So what do I need to do to make sure that it works out?
Yes.
Because we do it the other way around, which is, now we are learning wrong. Okay, so we have more questions for you.
Okay.
Good morning. I started an online business of selling organic products, which I make myself.
Wow.
So far, it's not doing as well as I thought it would, but it's surviving. At least I'm making my profits, but I would like to thrive more, and it currently more than it currently is. Can Diana help me and advice on boosting my sales? This is Bertha from Thika.
Okay, so I can tell you right now, over 84%, I think this was some statistics from the International Finance Corporation, and they were talking about how over 84% of businesses right now are thriving because of online visibility.
The digital space has really
just being in the digital space. And she's saying that she's running an online business.
Yes.
So what I would advise her is, number one, you might find that there are people, if you put out your advertisement on social media and you're telling people about what you're doing, most of the time people don't actually follow up. There are people who like your post, follow up, send them a message. For example, maybe you don't have you don't have their contact details. Follow up, send them a message, find out if they're actually interested. You know, sometimes you have to, like, it's more like, you know, courting.
Yeah.
You have to actually follow up with these people for them to buy. And even the 10% I was talking about who actually buy from you,
yeah,
the 10% is not like you just advertise and they came and they say,
no,
oh, okay, I'm going to buy. It's because you did some follow-ups.
Yeah.
So follow-up is key when you're doing sales. Follow-up is king. You might even find, I was talking to one of my friends and she was telling me that actually, you know, if you don't follow up, if you're not persistently following up and exposing your products to the people that you've reached out to,
yes,
then it will just die out. You might find that because of follow-up, someone who probably you tried to sell to 2 years ago will buy now, because they're seeing how consistent you are. And this is a lady friend of mine called Sarah Munye. I think you'll be interviewing her.
I will be talking to Sarah.
Yes, you'll be talking to her. And that was really interesting. Consistency is really key, especially on the social media space.
Okay.
It's very, very important to be very consistent in what you're doing. Let people see you.
Okay. Because
most of the time, people buy, they don't buy products, but they buy you.
That is true.
They need to know, who is this that I am buying from? Is it someone that I can trust? Is it someone that is really warm? And from what they see you do on social media, they can actually tell that this person understands what I am going through as a client, and they understand my challenges, and they're actually going to offer me the solutions that I need. Yeah. So they buy you first.
Not the product.
Not the product first. They buy you. Use it. Yes.
As our time is running out.
Okay, all right.
As a small business owner dealing with beauty products, I've done the business for almost a year, but I've been doing online, and I've been getting enough money to pay for my bills and still save some money. But I want to go out and open out there, but I'm not, I'm in a comfort zone. Like, why should I go out there? I'm already selling and doing delivery from the comfort of my house. I want to open up a shop, but I have fear. Advice, I think, let's encourage.
Okay, all right. So maybe what I can tell her is, remember I said you need to have a big vision when you're starting a business. So I think she needs to sit down and actually write her business proposal. And she needs to be very clear. If I go out there and set up a shop, how am I going to get clients into that shop? Am I going to get people coming in? Because there's no point of paying for a premise that you cannot afford. There's no point of, you know, putting in a lot of investment in setting up a place, and you've not created a plan that will actually get people to the door. So I think she needs to start with the plan.
Okay.
It's very important for every business person to have a proper plan for their business, so that they know what next to do. because I think that's where we fail. You start something and you're too excited, you start an office and all that, and then now you start asking yourself, okay, so where am I getting the rent for next month?
Which is a problem.
Yes.
And we need to be aware that if we get into that space, then we will need to work extra hard to raise that other amount of money that we were not incurring that expense before.
Yes.
Diana, our time is up. How can people get in touch with you, and can they forward these questions to you?
Yes,
for you to just advise them?
Yes.
So how can they do that? Where can they find you?
Okay. So you can find me on social media, and my name is Diana Kolek. You'll find me on Facebook, you'll find me on Instagram, you'll find me on LinkedIn, on Twitter, and you can also follow us on our business page. It's Evoke Global on Facebook, on LinkedIn. On Instagram, you can find us at Evoke Global 2018. Okay. So you can find us there. You can also call me on 0721 332 897.
Say that again.
0721 332 897.
Great.
You can find us there.
Diana, thank you so much for always coming through with wisdom nuggets when it comes to business. We're going to take a very short commercial break. Spoiler alert, Sarah Mooney is coming up next.